Hello and welcome to the Last Level Gamescast. My name's Jason. That's Phil. Say hi, Phil.
What's up, everyone?
That's Var. Say hi, Var.
How's it going?
How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Good, good. This is our podcast where we talk about video games and all the news that comes out that we want to just talk about, I guess.
It's
Um, so to get things going, let's start off with one of Phil's most
mm,
addictive things,
mm,
Destiny.
mm.
So a couple things. First off, Destiny's new microtransaction rollout has reached the top of the DLC charts for PlayStation. At least that's what they reported. Um, Interesting.
Very interesting. So we talked before about like if this could actually be a business model for them and something they could really do, um, which it looks like you can. They made a ton of money right off the rip. So the highest thing they had was the $10 card. Was the most sold one, and then nothing of the cards ranked out of the top five. So that's going to be huge for them. Now, the only disparaging part of this is originally they talked that this was going to be a replacement for the add-on story content,
Mm-hmm.
and now it seems they're kind of backtracking. That
Mm.
they still might release regular DLC. They said all options are open. I believe I saw it on GameSpot had an article about it where the person said that everything's still on the table and that they're not going to commit to one way or the other.
Yeah.
Um, but man, I really hope they don't.
Yeah, because I mean, based on what they were talking about, they were saying that that's going to offset them charging for DLC. And
Right.
I love the user comments to these things where it's like, "Thank you for paying for my DLC, guys." Like,
Yeah.
that made me laugh. But I mean, it proves that if you're, I think this is something that maybe people like the payday developers can learn from and say, as long as they stay true to it, obviously. But if
Exactly.
if they're honest and saying this is why we are going to put microtransactions in for this reason to benefit you guys as well as us, and not make it seem like it's a scam. It's
There
like,
you
no,
go.
what are you talking about? We didn't say anything. We wouldn't have microtransactions. you know.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, I was just finding the article.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on GameSpot.com. Um, and it looks like Eddie Marcucci. I'm
Sure.
terrible at
Let's go with
names.
that. Thank
He
you, Eddie
said that
Markuch.
Activision Publishing CEO Eric Heisberg said on an earnings call um, on November 3rd, Destiny players can expect to see more of both in the future, not one or the other, but both at the same time. I think they're already coexisting. We've had a full year of expansions to the game that have been very well received and sold quite well. More recently, we've seen us introduce smaller in-game purchases that allow people to customize their experience and express themselves. They have been very well received and have also sold well. I think we've already shown that DLC and microtransactions can coexist, and our community is hungry for more great content.
But yeah,
Um,
that sounds a lot more like they're saying that they're going to charge for both,
There you
yeah,
go.
right?
and he goes on to say, as far as any shifts in our strategy, I don't have any announcements, but I think we have a lot of options at our disposal, and the reason for that, of course, is because we have such a great community. Um, so yeah, it really seems like almost what Payday didn't do. He's trying to like foreshadow and warn that hey, no, we might still roll with
Yeah.
paid downloadable content, which I think sucks. I
Yeah.
think it would have been amazing if they kept course and went the other way with it, because you need a big title to do it, so other titles will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
see it's a viable thing. Which right now that would leave Halo as the only one doing it.
Yeah. Microsoft endorsed.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and kind of right off that. So Phil, how much Destiny do you play a day? How many hours?
Um.
I want the real number, not the.
No. So it varies. It varies. So Destiny has their own form of dailies. So if I just get on to do dailies,
yeah.
which is normally your Monday, Tuesday, Friday thing,
Okay.
because I do play 7 days a week. Your Monday, Tuesday, Friday thing. That's only about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and you can get through your bounties really quick. But like Wednesdays, it'll be a time sink. It'll be like 5 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then same with Thursday, and then over the weekends, depending, because Xur comes. so you can get these special coins and whatnot. So that also adds to the gameplay. But the biggest thing with Wednesday is the reset. It's the weekly reset. So you have a bunch of more stuff you can do.
Yeah. So it's been published that Destiny has 25 million players play roughly 3 hours a day. I can easily see that happening.
Yeah, and the one thing though, they don't say played. They just say players.
Oh, okay.
So what's funny is, you know how like Xbox, they released their numbers?
Yeah.
And they said that what it meant was you logged on once in the month.
Yeah.
Destiny doesn't really say that. They just said there's 25 million players. So I don't know if that means one player, like, I don't know if that means like unique ID, or if that means like I have 3 characters.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm assuming. Well, because if they're on both consoles, that means they have roughly, what, 50 million? At least, how many people own a PS4? And there's 30 million PS4s right now. And there's like
15. We're thinking Xbox One.
Yeah, so 45 million. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Yeah.
I hope so. I fucking love that game.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. But Halo has my attention. No. Yeah,
same game.
Yeah. I think they're doing so many good things with Destiny. I hope they don't fuck it up.
Well, in all fairness, they started fucked up. They're actually getting better.
That's true.
So maybe they're going the right way with it.
Yeah.
Do you actually think this tilts towards them trying to squeeze their community for how much money they can get, seeing how many players are actually this dedicated to the game?
I think anybody squeezes the community to see how much money they get. They're a company. At the end of the day, they're here for profits. They're not here for anything else.
A private company, yeah.
Yeah, so of course they're going to squeeze. So, like I said before in previous shows, like every single holiday is going to have paid holiday content where like you can buy, like for Halloween.
Oh no, I meant directly to the story we just covered, where the microtransactions were hopefully covering the DLC costs.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're
gonna double dip.
Yeah.
I think they definitely try to double dip. The only way I see it failing is if the first expansion comes out and just people don't buy it.
Yeah.
Or see like the expansion comes out and like their microtransactions drop drastically because maybe that person doesn't have $20 to spend on microtransactions because he bought the expansion.
Yeah, and I think as much as we want free DLC, we're not. They're like you said, they're a company. They're a private company. We're not entitled to anything. They just have to make. They honestly have to make the content worth it. Otherwise, they'll lose people. You know what I mean? Because what was it? The first DLC that came out was kind of like, meh. I bought the expansion pass thinking like, I believe in this, and I'm slowly learning. It takes a lot for me to learn stuff. I'm slowly learning that season passes and DLC are tricks of the trade now. Although it's getting off topic, but I still feel like when I first played like the Call of Duty ones, like the first Call of Duty 4 and those map packs and stuff felt okay. I don't remember. I think maybe it was $15, but I was never upset about the DLC I got out of those games. But I did pay for it after, I'd say. I don't remember.
Well, I think
What was the?
Sorry, what?
It was another, because I remember when we got those map packs. It was the new map packs are out. Everybody I know is playing this.
Right.
So you felt
into it.
Yeah, you felt inclined to do it. Okay.
Well, if you want to play with them, you have to.
No,
right?
yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy with the red ink saying,
Yeah.
you can't play this with so and so.
Yeah. You're alone again.
This guy.
He's the reason you're not on the cool map.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's a weird thing too, because I guess that explains why I don't play them as much anymore and things like that, because there's not many people that I know that play those games.
Right.
But yeah, I can see that. But you Var, you should have never felt pressured.
I was talking about you, actually.
What do you mean?
I gave up on that real quick.
Dude, why you letting out my secrets? You know I need people to like me. God.
I like you, baby.
Whatever, man.
I don't.
I'm cool with that. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk some Sony news. When I think of Sony, I think of Japan. When I think of Japan, I think of JRPGs.
Yeah.
No, I don't really associate the two specifically, but Sony has said that they themselves have no JRPGs in development, and Shuhei's kind of not saying that he's bringing PS classics back or making things backwards compatible. I mean, he's saying no, which is kind of upfront, but but
It's not direct enough.
Sounds like an answer to me.
I don't. I'm still waiting for a yes. No, I really don't care. But I don't know. For me, JRPGs have always been something that I've always wanted to get into, but I've never felt like the gravitas that other people feel. I feel like you two both like JRPGs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
big fan of JRPGs.
So Final Fantasy, is that technically a JRPG? No, right? I mean, technically.
No, it is.
It is considered. I always thought that they were considered like American like Western JRPGs, kind of. No.
Your Mass Effect is more of, I think, what you're going to.
Of an RPG, like.
Right, but an
Well, not
RPG, but
RPG.
westernized.
Okay.
But the JRPG, because definitely at least the start.
Use your words.
They started Final Fantasies were the epitome of JRPG, turn-based,
Okay.
stats, a million different stats to go into, customization, all this different stuff. And if anything, I would say Final Fantasy is the franchise that kind of sets the standard for what a JRPG would be. Because once they started more going action, like other kind of companies started going that way.
Yeah.
Because it's the mainstream and people are able to accept it more.
Yeah.
You have some other big ones, like the Secrets were always big, Tales games were always big, but Final Fantasy was always, to me, the most recognized. So it was easier for them to go, hey, we changed the battle system. There's more action in it.
Yeah. Do you think there's any do you think Sony not having any first party studios, does that bother you? Or like, cause not when I think about it, Microsoft probably doesn't have. They're probably not focusing on JRPGs either, right?
I see them doing that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like more and more I feel like you hear that JRPGs, and they've always been niche games, right? Am I wrong with that, saying that? Because like you said, I think they got bigger for a while and people loved them, and you had all different variations of a JRPG. But now it feels more and more to me that it's not really niche. I don't want to say it's niche because there's a huge fan base, but that it's not as significant as it was because people like quicker games and things like that. You know what I mean? Like Call of Duties, like Uncharted's, Tomb Raiders. That's more like you said, the mainstream now. Do you think that's a concern for you? Is that a concern for you that Sony's not making any?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I think it definitely is.
Okay.
And I think VAR can attest to this. I think it's an overall, speaking of the weak Japanese games market, like console market.
Yeah.
But I'm sure VAR's been in the same boat when like you see a review or you see a preview, and then you're like, oh fuck, that's never coming to America. Like just so many times.
It's a heartbreaking feel.
Yeah, like
hey, we made this game that has everything you've ever wanted in a game. Yeah. It'll never be in English.
Yeah. So learn Japanese, mother. So I definitely think that's rough. And then I think so Sony sold almost 30 million consoles, right?
Yeah.
3 million have been in Japan.
Okay.
Right. 3 million. So it's not a surprise to me that they're not looking at that as much.
Well,
because I think that's where it's heavy.
It's not just that, but a trend I'm seeing, and it's terrifying me. It started off making me really excited, but now it's terrifying me. I'm hearing more about RPGs being remade than made.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And if I was 10 years old and I had never experienced all these things, I'd be so excited to know what everybody's talking about. But technically, I'm an old gamer now. So
I got these old bones.
They aren't my first time experiencing them.
Yeah.
And I like how some things are tweaked, but I'd like seeing new things. And I look back on it, and how many Final Fantasies did we get out of the last generation? Just Final Fantasy as a example for the RPG.
Yeah.
Including the MMOs?
No.
Sure.
Wow.
I mean,
sure.
They're still around.
But to emphasize the point, even if you include them, your number is not high.
Yeah. You got 2, right? Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2?
You got no Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and 13-3 Lightning Returns.
And the 10 remake that made it to PS.
A remake.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
So you had
yeah,
the Final Fantasy 13 franchise of itself,
Yeah.
and you had an MMO. That's not really a good sign of progression.
Yeah.
It really isn't, because let's say I played Final Fantasy 13 and did not enjoy myself at all, then the sequels are lost on me.
Yeah.
So what did I have from that entire generation? What did I have?
Just that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I could easily, because remember we heard about Final Fantasy 13 Versus. It's now Final Fantasy 15, but we heard about that way early into the PS3 years.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Now, a part of this could be people like action games, which is understandable. A part of this could be a linear story in a shooter. I'm guessing is way easier to make than the entire world of an RPG.
Fair enough.
Especially if you're going to do it right.
Yeah. Well, they also made Final Fantasy Type O.
Yeah, which was an action game. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's considered by what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's a JRPG too, right? I mean, it's more active.
Technically, because you have like the customization.
Yeah.
So an RPG itself is to me really gets down to how much you can customize, and if you can put in those stat points and put in those different little attributes. That's what makes an RPG to me. And then you can build a world around it, and it can be any fucking world you want.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of that has gone, like even Diablo took it out. That was a game where you add attributes and you could customize, and then everybody's so worried about balancing and making it that everybody can play that they get rid of all that stuff. They sacrifice it, and I think it really sucks. But
my favorite thing about RPGs is God mode.
Yeah, making your guy that good. Yep.
Yeah. Because if you do an RPG well, like every Final Fantasy I've played, even when I'm in that top tier, when I've maxed out everything, you're a game developer. Just make something damn near impossible to beat, and you've justified all that progress.
Yeah.
Even though I've gotten to the max level, even though I've gotten ultimate weapons, just make something beyond those parameters, and it's okay. But don't get. I hate the word balancing. I swear I hate balancing. I hate balancing is being pulled back right before you finish a race and say no. You have to wait for everybody else to catch up.
Finish together. Yep.
You can't be the winner. There's no real winner.
Yeah.
That's pointless to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fair enough.
I think so. Last generation, we saw the 360 try to buy the Japanese market with JRPGs.
Yeah.
And it failed. So I think that was really the death shot, and I don't think we're gonna get them. We won't get them from the big AAA developers. I think obviously Final Fantasy will be there, but we won't get them like we used to. There's a lot on Steam, and there's a lot like more under the.
I was gonna ask you that because you're on Steam a lot. Now let me ask you this: do you know? This might be hard to answer now. Maybe we'll revisit it. Like a lot of those RPGs you see and those JRPGs you see, are they coming out of Japan?
I don't know.
That's my like. Are they coming out of? Or are they local? You know,
I don't know.
On this side or even Europe and stuff like that. I mean, that was my question about that because I know you look for a lot of different games and RPGs. That we should look into that and see.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Well, it's not just that. There have been a lot of ones. I feel like I'm gonna come into the same thing again. I'm seeing a lot of titles that did come out for the PS3, not necessarily Final Fantasy in this case. That right now I go on Steam. It's like new to Steam, just ported.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. I love that game.
Yeah.
So
why don't you give me a sequel or something along those lines instead of remember this? Yes, I remember it. I don't need to play it entirely again because I remember it.
Yeah.
Give me something new.
So just to speak to what Lamar just said, out of their top 10 newest RPGs, and this is RPGs, even though it calls it JRPG, it's not. This is RPGs. Out of the top 10, 5 of them are under new releases. 5 of them are remakes or ports from older
So
generations.
half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So half are recycled ideas.
Yeah. And then out of all, only 114 are under the name of JRPG.
Yeah, it's not a lot at all.
You got to think Steam has a library of over 6,000 games.
Yeah.
So
That's like 0.006%. You know, that's good. So, kind of piggybacking off of, what we're talking about in last gen and stuff. Do you guys? I gotta ask, and I think I know what your answers are gonna both be, but I want to know, if I'm wrong. But am I the only one that doesn't really care about backwards compatibility? It's a hard thing because I think about it a lot. I do think about it a lot, and I you get into that thing where you see a new, like, you see a re-release of something, or you see a remake, and you're just like, oh, I should play that again, and then I never do most of the time. I mean, I did Last of Us Remastered, but that was more recent. But I'm talking like even past that. I find myself thinking like, I don't know if I really care that much about backwards, like people focusing on backwards compatibility versus trying to do more with the future. You know what I mean?
All right. So, completely honest.
Yeah.
I replay games a lot.
Okay.
I replay games a whole lot. And I'm fine when they're branded that way. When they're branded as being backwards compatible. I'm fine with that. When you try to get me excited about remastering something, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
That's you telling me, hey, I could have been making something new. No. No. I know you like this, so buy this. But I know I like that because I've beaten it.
Yeah.
But I'm currently going through another run of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I like playing games I know are good.
Yeah.
I fall into that category. But it's not like a remastered version.
Yeah.
No, it's the same old game.
Yeah.
So backwards compatibility is a good thing to me.
Yeah.
It's not something to fall on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for a while, that's what we were hearing from Xbox.
Yeah.
Like they were pushing, the greatest lineup, the greatest winter lineup in the history of games. No, it's a good lineup from a multitude of previous Christmases. Backwards compatibility doesn't blow my mind. It's convenient. It's nice. It's fun. I still want to see what you have to offer.
Yeah.
Like, let me stick to nostalgia when I want to. But for as what you're gonna offer me, I don't want to hear about backwards compatibility from you. Don't tell me that like it's gonna blow my mind.
Yeah.
Don't tell me playing something you beat is going to blow your mind. No, tell me about your new titles, which I think Sony did an excellent job of. But don't do it and kind of just hint at it a little. Okay. Don't make a big deal about it.
So, and Phil, I'll let you in a sec. I just want to ask this: when Shuhei says no on backwards compatibility, I don't remember if the question was backwards compatibility, but if he says that it's never coming, is that something where you're just like, that sucks, or do you really care enough where you would want to like fight to get backwards compatibility? I'm just asking.
All right, that when I hear that, the first thing that comes to my mind is, so you're gonna remaster everything.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm really not. I want, tell me about something new. Let me find what I love that's old, because I'll find it. I loved it.
Yeah.
You tell me about something new. And that's what I fear about them avoiding backwards compatibility, because they still want to milk that old market. They still want to play with your nostalgia buttons and just
want to charge you $49.99 or higher.
There you go. Which is not really a big thing with backwards compatibility. That's another factor of it, price.
Yeah. Phil, what do you think?
I think part of, at least for me and Jason, is obviously we have the new console. I think it's a better selling point to like moms, dads, that kind of thing, that are going to buy their console for their kid, and they look at it and they say, well, this one has backward compatibility. I only have to buy them one game, and then they can play all their old games on it or a part of their old games on it, which is a big deal. And then I actually really liked the integration that Xbox is doing with it, where if you bought it digitally when you had a 360, it's just available to you. You can re-download it now that you're on your Xbox One. I thought that was really cool. As far as backwards compatibility as a whole, I wish both systems had it.
Yeah.
I really like that Nintendo's pretty much always had it, except for when they switched from
the small discs and not even small discs, the cartridge too.
Right, cartridge. That's when they obviously nixed that for that one generation. But even GameCube worked on Wii, and then Wii works on Wii U. And I really like that because I always feel like the end of the generation produces some of the best games, and it gets lost.
This is true.
So to me, things like The Last of Us got remastered.
Yeah, that's the argument, right? Yeah.
But I did not play it on PS3. Like, I played it for a heartbeat, but then I'm like, well, I have my PS4 out now. I'm not going to fucking take my PS3 back out. And one of them that really gets me still to this fucking day and makes me, not mad, but makes me wish that Sony announced backwards compatibility, not Xbox. And I'm going to say this wrong, but it's Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. A PS3 game I always fucking wanted to play.
You actually said that right, I think. I think that's what it's called.
Is it?
Yeah.
But it came out right at that intersection.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a PS4 version.
Yeah.
So I would enjoy backwards compatibility for those 1 or 2 years where that generation is putting out some of its best games, because one, they were worked on when the generation was in the midst of its bloom and its glory.
Yeah.
Just obviously when you work on a game, then it comes out later.
Yeah.
And then it's at that point when people can make really good AI and can get really good graphics and find that balance of being able to show you all these different things and work in new ideas. And then, like I said, I put my PS3 away because what the fuck am I going to do? I actually traded in my PS3 this time.
Yeah.
So it's even more of a like, well, I can't even go back to it. I can't even use it. So I would like that for its backwards. I would like the systems to have backwards compatibility for that. I'm not going to go replay a game I already played. Not going to happen. But I also think it's stupid, and I played Last of Us Remastered, so call me a hypocrite. But I also think it's stupid to buy a game that came out a year ago on my new console just because it's not backwards compatible. So like a great Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, like
even if you've never played it, because right,
no, that's why I would want backwards compatibility, because I think that's I get it, it's money, it's cash,
yeah.
Platform. But to me, that's one of the reasons I would want it. So think about like the Wii U, right? So I can still play Super Mario Galaxy when I want to, and Galaxy 2, and that's nice. It's nice to have that ability as opposed to not having any option whatsoever. But again, like I said, I think this is more meant for people who haven't decided yet what console they want to buy, or those parents are sitting at home like, oh, he can still use some of these games. Like, I don't need to reduce. I'm not going to have my kid. I don't have to buy them a $400 system plus 5 games just so they have something to play, or 3 games so they have something to play.
Okay.
So I get it. Sony can't. They're fucked. They try to, right?
They're believing in that PlayStation Now thing, and I just
terrible.
Oh, I fucking hate that thing, man. Because that shows how capable they are capable of doing this. Now, granted, it's a streaming service basically.
That's the problem.
But yeah, so they're capable of making their systems backwards compatible.
No, that's not what it is.
What?
They're not capable. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Cell processor.
Play that game. You're literally playing it off of like a PS3. Because they literally have them in places, and then you say, hey, I want to play this game, and it loads it up on that cell processor, and it shoots it to you. That's why they did it that way. It's because they can't replicate the cell processor, because it's not base 86 architect. It's their own. Wasn't it like 64? Which doesn't even make sense, but that's a whole different story. So that's the thing. That's their problem. That's why Xbox is able to do it.
Yeah.
Because that Xbox 360 was a PC. The Xbox One is a PC. So they're able to more easily do that. Their PlayStation Now sucks. I'm sorry. I can't
it's terrible.
play games with it.
It's terrible.
Can't.
I get so mad.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to go back and play that game, but like,
You can't play any game that requires reflex, unless even if you're hardlined
you can't play
or
any
hardwired.
game you want to enjoy. That's my problem with it. But even that, like, that goes back into like data caps and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Because interestingly, I read Comcast is rolling out to even more cities data caps. So we'll
Brilliant.
see how that world goes.
The world of big data.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of Microsoft and how awesome they are,
Yeah.
let's talk about Halo 5.
Oh, that's funny. I'm in green and you're in blue.
Yeah, blue's cooler. So, Phil and I both played Halo 5. I actually beat it. I was like, man, it's another Halo. Like, it's like what you said last week. It's another Halo game.
Yeah.
And it does its job of continuing the story. Keep like some of the missions I found myself like just like this is awesome. It was like 3 missions. But but it was still it's still a Halo experience, and for me it's neither the greatest thing for this generation or the worst thing. It's really just an in-between. But a lot of people seem to agree that it's a good game, and they've reached over 400 million in sales.
Yes.
That's pretty. Yes. They beat their previous record. They beat a lot of records with this, which I just kudos to Microsoft for making a game, a exclusive game, have that much, magnitude. And I think the bigger thing is that it's a T-rated game, so parents that don't want their kids playing Black Ops because it's mature rated probably get them Halo. That helps. Although you can make the argument that they're gonna get them anyways, but I think it's a good sign for them. I think that's gonna help them. That's a huge indicator for how this year is gonna go. I mean, the end of this year is gonna go for them, as far as their console sales, because that's gonna be right on the face of everything. Like, buy this, Halo, 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 yeah. Master Chief. I don't know, man. I'm playing it and I'm like, I get it. I think I'm slowly getting done with these giant AAA games. Like, slowly but surely. Huh?
I love them. I can't get enough of them. Like,
it's just weird.
So I think like even with the story when I played through Halo, like, I don't know. I just expected Halo and I got it, and I'm so fucking happy with that. It's kind of like
I hear you.
I'll equate it back to the Far Cry syndrome issue, right? Is I played Far Cry 3 and then immediately played Far Cry 4, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But if I had that time between games, I probably would have picked up Far Cry 4 and been like, this is amazing, because it had been so long.
Yeah.
So like with Halo, like, I'm okay with that, because you know what? Nothing else fills that need, that type of first-person shooter. None of the other games do it for me like a Halo does.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You think it's because of that 2-3 year gap? Yeah, right.
So yeah, I think if they released it yearly, I don't think I would care as much. I think it would go the way of Call of Duty for me, where like this year I'm not even gonna bother buying it. Nope. I'm like, it's just fucking Call of Duty, whatever. Yep. So like that gap allows me time to want it, and then it allows, like, as stupid as it sounds, like, it would allow other people to take it over, but nobody else is. For whatever fucking reason, nobody else. Everybody's going realistic, and Halo is still Halo.
Yeah.
Like that. I like
that. The game looks so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, you can still tell, like, when the CG, like, the cutscenes come in.
Yeah,
and how the polish is amazing. At the end, like, I'm watching the final cutscene, and I'm just like, God, this is a beautiful game. It runs well. They didn't have server issues.
No.
Server issues.
There's no way they were having server issues.
I know. It's all right. For 2 weeks, we got to cut everything else off.
Yeah,
just everything else.
I wouldn't doubt that. Like, you log in any other fucking game, and it's like, we're busy with Halo.
Yeah, not even every other game. You just go into, like, Microsoft, try to download a template from their servers, and they're just like, sorry, error. We had to sacrifice.
Or that or just pops up with a message, why are you not on Halo?
Yeah. I'm trying to do homework, but okay. So moving on to the next thing. I like story in games. I think it's important to keep me wanting more. I think some games do it better than others, but there's something that we all saw that kind of pissed LeVar off, pissed me off too. But LeVar, I'm gonna let you explain what I'm talking about. What do I mean?
Are you referring to the accusations of a certain game developer?
Maybe.
Somebody claiming that his title is more expressive than other titles?
I think you're almost there. You're almost there.
Oh, what's that title again? Deus Ex.
I'm gonna say Dookie X, but you know,
It's not a bad game. Before I get into any of this, it's not a bad game.
yeah.
I enjoyed myself quite a bit.
Okay.
But that's like Floyd Mayweather is not a bad fighter. He's not a bad fighter.
Okay.
But when he tells you that he's the best fighter of all time, the whole "you're not a bad fighter" thing gets pushed to the side for a moment, and you look at him and you go, "Fuck, are you talking about?" This is one of those situations.
Okay.
Deus Ex isn't a very expressive game. You have a lot of options. You can do great things. It works well for what it's trying to do. But for any individual making this game to look at other games and say they don't use the entire potential of the medium of video games.
Yeah.
Every mirror in that individual's house must be completely broken or missing because they can't see themselves.
Well, I can't remember which games was he referring to. I know one of them was Uncharted. Yeah.
He said Uncharted and, I shit you not, Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
Were less open and expressive than his game.
Yeah.
One, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And two, I played the first Deus Ex. I'm excited for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a lot of open options into how you play this game. It doesn't compare to Heavy Rain. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if he just saw a small commercial for Heavy Rain and said, that surely can't have all the options we do.
Yeah.
And in the larger scheme of storytelling, Deus Ex gives you a lot of ways to find yourself down one tunnel into three paths. And for those of you who didn't play it, sorry to ruin it, but the game literally ends with you going to choose between three rooms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those are your endings.
The Mass Effect did the same thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's the same complaint people had. You're giving me so many options and everything I do matters and da-da-da. Three options. Three options, and not only are they three options, but they're not three options that all my choices led up to.
Yeah. At the end of the day, no matter what you did,
I can make at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's not great storytelling. And for somebody who is a part of that to look at other storytelling and tell them what's wrong with them, that's foolish. That's absolutely insane. He compared his game. He said his game was more like fighting games, which you have open options, all digitally scripted. You put in certain buttons and a combo's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Fallout is a very open game with many options. Deus Ex doesn't compare to Fallout in both content, storytelling, and for a third, outcome. Every bit of Fallout I've ever played affects so much more than I've ever had the feeling for in Deus Ex.
Yeah.
For everything you do to essentially be, so you're gonna go right, left, middle. What you gonna do? That's a letdown.
Yeah.
Like, give me freedom, but don't get to a certain point and say, You know that freedom you had? It's all done with now. We only got 3 things for you. What about everything else I've done? Kinda doesn't matter at all.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's that's not acceptable. And I can understand that you're limited and you have to make an end to a game. I understand that. But once again, if these are the roads that you end up with and the options that you have, don't look upon others and criticize them because, yeah, Uncharted is linear.
Yeah, very.
It never claims that it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't, at no point is it telling you or creating the illusion that you have more options than you do. No, it's a fun thrill ride. It nails what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
Heavy Rain is so open in all the things that can happen, and they all have an effect on it. And it's storytelling in a way that I think few people can compete with. It nails what it's trying to be. Much like Mass Effect, and remember how people went insane at the ending of Mass Effect 3 for the exact same reason. Deus Ex failed.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the game a lot, but if you're going to tell me all down this long road that you've created me that everything I do matters, all my choices matter, I've been made an individual, 3 options doesn't reflect that.
Yeah.
3 pre-written options doesn't reflect that. I know the game, like the gameplay is supposed to be your narrative of expression, but even then, there's no crazy combination that's going to make a developer go, wow, I didn't know you could do that. No, it's all scripted like all these other games are.
Yeah.
And their maps reflect that. The maps are a result of what they know you can do.
Yeah.
You're not, and I hate to say this, but I don't think I'm terrified of what this game is going to be like now.
The new one?
If they're not aware of what they're making. I'm terrified for them to look at other games and go, oh, we're nothing like them, we're more like this. No, you aren't. You're nothing like that. So that's my rant. I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything on it, Phil?
No, I just think it was him trying to big up himself and big up his studio.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna say this, and I'm thinking really hard about how I want to say this, but I tried playing Deus Ex. I did. I gave it like an hour and a half. I didn't like the lore. Like I didn't like the storyline. Like where it was trying to go. I didn't find any interest in it. It never seemed revolutionary to me in any way. Like it never felt like what I was doing was better or worse, like better than anything I've played that's similar to that. Because like, you know, the sneaking around and stuff, you know, like Metal Gear's done it. I don't know, a bunch of games have done it. You know what I mean? But for him to say that games like Uncharted and Heavy Rain don't make most of a medium, there's plenty of ways to make most out of this medium, and people do it in different ways. So for him to say that his way is the right way and that he can compare, I don't understand how you can compare yourself to a fighting game when your game, like, it has fighting, but it's in no way, shape, or form like a Street Fighter or something like that. But for him to just kind of push them, Uncharted and Heavy Rain, which, by the way, I don't recall Deus Ex being anywhere remotely in the realm of Game of the Year. But I do remember Uncharted being there. You know what I mean?
But that's what it is. Like, it's an open medium. Choose what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And if you're good at it, you'll be appreciated for it.
Yeah.
It like I can't play an RPG and sit back and go, oh man, why is this not more like Street Fighter?
Yeah.
That's foolish on my part.
Yeah. I think the thing that I read this and I'm just like, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't know what else to say, but I was just so, like, taken back by the fact that the way he's portraying those games and just trying to, say they're not as good as people think. You don't understand games. Like,
Yes.
don't tell me. You know what I mean? Like, no. That pissed me off. But you said what you need to say. I said what I need to say. We're gonna move on. Next up, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. This is another interesting.
Continue to go downhill, huh?
Yes, this is gonna keep going.
All right.
This is an interesting thing. So, I think it was maybe last month or the month before, Treyarch announced that they're not gonna have the campaign in last gen's games, versions of their game, which I find just I go to Call of Duty for their campaign. So if I was a last gen carrier and I found that out, like, fuck you for that. But they started to explain why, and they talked about like customization, like Phil, I'm going to rely on your technical expertise for this. But they start talking about like the amount of data that they need to save to make sure that your customizations look customized. And I just think it sounded a lot like, I think they didn't just want to waste the time. I really think like they were just like, let's just focus on multiplayer, because they're going to include zombies in the other one, right? That's my other.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
I think
because
that's the off.
Getting downloadable content.
So then what the fuck?
Look, it's a blatant fucking cash grab. They're sending out a very shitty, half-baked idea. They did say they're going to lower the cost, but they're basically selling you fucking maps, and it's retarded. So
is it going to be $49.99?
I don't know what they said, but they said it would be cheaper.
Okay.
Now, what they said the problem was basically has to do with your RAM, so random access memory. They said that there wasn't enough memory to store everything that could happen at one time on the screen. Which, okay, I would understand that if you were doing the campaign and not the multiplayer. But you're doing the multiplayer, which means you need all of that, which means you need his layout and his layout and their layout and their layout and my layout, all to be accessed at any minute because we could change it, right? That's what they're arguing. So it doesn't make sense that they cut the fucking campaign to do it.
They were referring to the co-op. That was the bigger thing, like
so
that.
Then don't co-op.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Don't make it seem like
it's stupid.
You know.
What I really think it was, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but when they first announced Call of Duty, they did not announce it for old gens. They only announced it for the new gens.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of backlash. They got a lot of shit about that, and a lot of people going, "Whoa, wait a minute, are you not making this?" And blah, blah, blah. So what I really think it was is due to that backlash and due to that outcry, they're like, "Oh shit, we can put out a Call of Duty on the old systems, and people are gonna buy it."
Yeah.
So this was their solution to it. It sucked. It's stupid. They should have just not fucking made it. And it blows my mind that people are gonna buy it. Like, that absolutely blows my mind because they're gonna.
I think it's a two-sided thing here, where it's like we only have to deal with, like, I'm speculating, but we only have to deal with this problem once.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It is potential.
Yeah. But
we don't know that definitively, right? Because, well, it would be a different studio making the next one. So what's to say they don't just follow suit.
And by the time they have to come back to this, they're not going to make it for the previous generation at all.
Yeah.
The different studio made the previous generations.
So even more so.
It wasn't even on their studio. That's more of a reason that I think that it was not in the plans. And this is their just rushed, failed attempt to get it onto the old consoles. And the real reason why campaign was cut is because they probably put all their time into multiplayer going like, this shit better work, otherwise they get mad. And then they're like, oh fuck, we don't have time to make the campaign work and make it all, make it pretty and whatnot. Because you're full of shit. Like, I'm sorry. Because the co-op person I'm playing with, their gun isn't going to be customized. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that.
Now, we used to have games where your co-op was just like a regular NPC that they're like, well, fuck it, you can control it now. Like, so that blows my mind that that's their excuse to just.
That was their co-op for quite some time.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
It's just a weird thing for them to like, kind of the trend to start. You know, like you know what, we're gonna sacrifice campaign entirely. Because people play the Call of Duties, like, I know the majority of people play it for multiplayer, but there are people out there like me that enjoy the Call of Duties campaigns and things like that. And I buy it to give it a chance.
Not trying to sound ridiculous here, but I understand it's the Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
You're running, like, the title is based off of a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so what happens after Call of Duty Black Ops 2?
Yeah.
It just ends, man.
They should just call it. They should just call it Call of Duty multiplayer.
Exactly.
By the way, I did check it. It's $49.99. That's how much it is. So $10 out for the campaign.
Fuck you.
Yeah, like it makes no sense.
And then, what blows my mind, oh Jesus Christ, even more, is if they did the campaign, they could have waited a couple months and dropped the multiplayer and been like, hey, there's the multiplayer if you guys want to play it, and then DLC and go that route with it. But they literally dropped multiplayer and were like, well, we're out. Like, so, like, who knows if that shit's even gonna run right? It's not gonna have the resources dedicated to it. Like,
yeah, but your gun's gonna be fully customized, Phil. Come on.
You did it.
I'm gonna see like your double mag and your grip and
stupid.
Yeah, that matters.
On the 15 seconds before everyone's dead and everyone's respawned because it's all reaction based now.
I was trying to think about this. Like when I transitioned from 360 to Xbox One and I'm playing like Call of Duty and stuff like that, I never been like, you know what I noticed so much? The customizations of the guns so different. I always wanted, you know what I mean? Like that's a stupid reason,
But you get a stupid reason when you're trying so hard to avoid, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's when you get the most absurd. Like, why did he just say that kind of reason when the real reason is wasn't thinking about it.
Weren't there, guys? I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So. On a good note, last thing we're going to just bring out there, it's nothing big, but in 6 days, we're probably not going to be friends anymore.
Yeah, true.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 days, yeah.
You will not see me.
Fallout 4.
We'll be held up in a bunker. I have a bunker at me in my house.
Oh, thought that was a Fallout joke.
No.
Oh, it could have been.
Not to give you credit for that.
It could have been.
Nope, I'm not that good. Man.
If you just shut up for 10 seconds. You know, I just can't wait. Like it's like almost here. And you pointed out to me before the show, like I can't believe how close it is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And shout out to EA Access, giving me 10 hours of Battlefront.
Yes, it's huge because I'm not buying that game.
Yes.
I'll get to play it for 10 hours. That is so dope.
I'm buying it, but I'm gonna play 10 hours of it before I buy it. So. You know.
If there's any single player, I hope I can beat it in that 10 hours. Because that would be amazing.
Did you see the trailer to they released a trailer for the DLC coming out for that runs kind of parallel, I know, before the game even comes out, but it runs parallel to the Force Awakens release. It's the Battle of Jakku. It's a mission, I think.
No, I didn't.
And like it's just like it just came out. Check it out. But it's you know, for a game that has no like campaign or anything like that, their trailers are so story driven. And you can do it because it's Star Wars. I get that. Right. But it's like, show people playing that game. Because that's my biggest worry. They haven't shown one aspect of like a multiplayer like Call of Duty does. I mean, Call of Duty has some over-the-top live-action trailers, but they also show gameplay and stuff like that, like a little bit better.
What do you mean, though? We saw gameplay. We did all that already.
What do you mean? No, but I mean in like the commercials and the trailers and stuff like that. Like in their advertisement. Because, you know, it's like, oh, God. I'm really worried about that game. I really am.
I'm not. So the way I think they're doing the story is like, if you want to, every battle is like a story battle.
Yeah,
like, that's the way I look at it. Like the Hoth thing, the defending the pod, those kind of things. Like that is their story to it. Yeah. Kind of like how
Hardline.
No, Titanfall tried and failed.
Oh God, I fucking hated Titanfall.
You could do it in campaign mode.
That.
And it was just multiplayer, but they're like, hey, this map is about you guys losing your territory. And this map's about you doing a Counter-Strike. And this map's about... And that's all it was.
Yeah, I lost it after the first... I was like, wait, this is multiplayer. Like, I thought I picked campaign.
really hate this map.
All right, I'm losing interest. Somebody's talking.
And then the best part with campaign was it didn't matter if you won or lost the map.
Yeah, no.
You just went on to the next mission.
Well, it was weird because I think if you lost, you got a different outcome. But I was just so disengaged, I didn't give a shit. Like I didn't care, you know. But it was fun. The multiplayer was fun.
For a while.
You know. Yeah, I know. You know what sucks about that game is I feel like it had legs. Like it really did. I had a lot of fun with that game. But there's so many other things to play. And now they're making a mobile Titanfall.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to suck.
Yeah, I'm not playing that.
Excited for that to just be terrible.
So ladies and gentlemen, that has been Last Level Gamescast episode 10. We're gonna have another Just Our Thoughts this week, so check that out. And Phil, Var, it's been nice talking to you guys. I hate you guys. I can't stand you guys.
Life happens.
I don't know why I do this. Why do I do this? No, but yeah, we'll see you guys again next week, and see you.
Bye.